talking about you. And I know it's been getting to you. And I know that things are hard and times are tough. But you know what? I got good news for you. You're totally unstoppable. Ain't no mountain high enough, there ain't no valley low enough, there ain't no ocean wide enough to keep me from my dreams. I fully made up my mind to leave the past behind, seek until I find my destiny. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. In the face of every obstacle, I'm moving ahead unstoppable, knowing nothing's impossible if only I believe. I'm reaching for the unreachable, feeling for the intangible, looking for the invisible, because I believe. I'm totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Let me tell you that every obstacle presents an opportunity. Every rock I see a stepping stone. The only limitation is in my imagination. Doesn't matter what they say, gotta do it anyway. There's no triumph without a trial, no gain without the pain, no glory without a story, no might without the fight, no victory without a victim, no message without a mess, no testimony without the testing. So step by step, totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. I'm a totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. I'm a totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. No matter what they say, totally unstoppable. I'll make it anyway.
Hey friends, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Bishop Wayne Malcolm, otherwise known as the Business Bishop, and I'm always excited and delighted to be a part of your life and legacy through this channel. You will have tuned in now to the Blessed Business Coaching Tips, right, that we typically upload every Tuesday or stream every Tuesday. I attempted to do that this previous Tuesday, but I wasn't in my usual location, didn't have all of my equipment, and I wasn't quite happy with the outcome. And so we took it down. What I'm going to do right now is make up for that because I'm going to redo the presentation. And I'm really grateful for those of you that tune in from all over the world to be a part of the live stream. And I'm equally grateful for those of you that catch up afterwards because I realize that we go live at different times in different time zones. It may not be realistic or practical for you to tune in live, but I'm really grateful for the fact that you do come on board, and then within a few days we really see the numbers begin to climb. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so right now. Just click subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Let YouTube know that you want YouTube to tell you whenever we are going live or whenever we upload new content. Right now we're uploading typically 3 times a week, on a Tuesday, a Thursday, and a Sunday. If I'm in transit or we're at a particularly busy season, it might be 2 times a week, but we're committed to uploading content every week, 2 to 3 times a week. So please do go ahead and subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. Do like the post and do comment. All right, I want you to comment. Right, let me know. What's resonating with you, what's inspiring you, what's encouraging you, and give as much detail as you can, right? Now, I love it when people just throw up fire emojis and heart emojis, but I love it even more when people can actually say that bit right there really, really is an answer to my prayers, really speaks to where I am right now, or has helped me to make an important decision. So I'm going to dive into something right now that I consider to be a critical success factor for business owners and entrepreneurs. I cannot overstate how important this piece is. I cannot overstate how much of a blessing it's been to me and how much of a blessing it's been to every successful business owner, entrepreneur that I know. It's a critical success factor. Unfortunately, it goes understated. Okay, understated and underrated, and yet it's a critical success factor in today's business landscape. And as you know, the business landscape is changing all the time, and we are at the dawn of a new economic era in which the rules have changed, the goalposts have moved, and in many respects, the game has changed. And we are constantly having to reinvent ourselves as business owners and represent ourselves as entrepreneurs and as marketers. And we are constantly having to review and revise or revisit our business strategy. And we're constantly having to do that because of the pace or the rate of change. Like, things are changing so fast. And so I have found that in this economic climate, this component that I'm going to share with you today is literally a critical success factor. It's a non-negotiable prerequisite to business success. And so let's dive in right now. Okay, are you ready? Let us go in. I'm going to talk about how to buy back your time, how to buy back your time. And I'm being very deliberate with the phrase buy back as opposed to take back. I want to talk about how you can buy back your time. And I don't want to spend too much time here explaining why that's important. I just perhaps remind you that when you went into business, right, you hoped that eventually the business would deliver to you specific forms of freedom. Okay, typically people go into business in pursuit of what I call the 4 freedoms. That is financial freedom and time freedom, freedom of mobility, and freedom of expression. And these four freedoms are so interrelated and interconnected that it's important that they are achieved together. Otherwise, they fail to fulfill. So, for example, if you achieve financial freedom, but you don't have time freedom, you don't have the time for the people that you love even more than the business, okay, then financial fulfillment fails to fulfill you. And likewise, if you become financially free and you have some time on your hands, but you have no freedom of mobility, you can't go where you want, when you want, and stay as long as you want, again, the freedoms fail to fulfill. So it's very important that we think of these freedoms in a holistic sense, even though they have individual expressions. Think of them in a holistic sense, and then um, then it becomes clear why buying back your time makes sense. All right. So, yet by all means, make a profit. By all means, make that money, but do so with a very holistic vision that incorporates your values, the things and the people that are extremely important to you, because your time is infinitely more important than your money, and we're going to dive into that right now. So, there's a quick look at the agenda of what we're going to discuss. I'm going to talk about a principle, the 1,000 to 1 principle, time versus money, rapid results, cause and effect, the wisdom of Solomon, why so long, and how ultimately to buy back your time. So let's look at the 1,000 to 1 principle. It's in 2 Peter 3 verse 8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. Now, I paraphrase this to mean that God can do in a day what would take men 1,000 years to achieve. Wow. So God can pack 1,000 years of value into one 24-hour period, right? God can make 1,000 years of difference in one 24-hour period. And this means that God has the ability to collapse the distance between the beginning and the end. He can collapse the distance between the beginning and the end. I'm going to say it again. God has the ability to collapse the distance between the beginning and the end, or at least to shorten that distance. If I had time, I'd talk about the difference between a circle and a straight line. But suffice to say that in a straight line, the end is not the beginning is not the end. But in a circle, the end is the beginning and the beginning is the end. And I guess this is what Jesus was alluding to when he describes himself as Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. And he's talking about the circle of God's intent. And he's describing the fact that God is going to get in the end what he wanted in the beginning. And that's a powerful teaching for another day. Suffice to say that God specializes in collapsing the distance between the beginning and the end, so that God can achieve in a day what would ultimately take 1,000 years of human effort and energy. But of course, that as a principle kind of exposes a myth when it comes to the length of time that it takes to achieve certain things. And so when someone says, well, it takes X amount of time, what they're really saying is that it takes you X amount of time, because someone else with better skills, with better tools, with better insights and information can get it done in a day, but it may take you a month to achieve, right? So it may take you a year to achieve a particular thing, but with better skills, with better tools, and with better information, you might find that you can get done in a day that would take what would take other people a year to achieve. And guess what? If you could get done in a day what it would take other people a year or perhaps years to achieve, then that's something that the Bible teaches is worth buying, right? That's something worth buying. So let me think about this. So if better skills, if better information, if better tools could collapse the distance, between your beginning and the end, such that the beginning and the end of a particular project were the same day, then you would be wise to invest in those skills, in those tools, and in that information. Let me read it to you another way. Ephesians 5, verses 15 to 16. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. So, a couple of ideas here. First of all, folly and wisdom. Folly and wisdom. And I guess that's the main theme of the book of Proverbs, right? Folly and wisdom. Like the book of Proverbs is constantly contrasting between the beliefs and behaviors of fools versus the beliefs and behaviors of the wise. And according to this passage in the New Testament, we should walk not as fools, but as wise. And Paul here emphasizes what that wisdom looks like with this phrase, redeeming the time. Redeeming the time. And, to redeem literally means to buy back, right? To redeem means to purchase, to buy, but to buy back, okay? So God has redeemed us, all right? That's the gospel. That's the New Testament message, is that we have redemption through his blood. So Christ bought us back, with the ultimate price, the ultimate sacrifice. But here Paul says that we should buy back the time. We should buy back the time. And because he's contrasting between fools and wise, he's effectively saying, look, fools don't value time. Fools do not value time, but the wise do. See, fools waste time, they spend time, they lose time, but the wise buy time. Okay, the wise buy time. If you're gonna walk in wisdom, then value your time and buy it back. Because the fools don't value time, they end up wasting it, spending it, and otherwise losing it. So let me pose this question to you: if you could learn in a day what would otherwise take years to discover, right? If you could learn in a day what would otherwise take years to discover, what would that be worth to you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, or as a leader in an organization or a ministry? If you could learn in a day what would otherwise take years to discover, what would that be worth to you? Because your answer, and you think carefully before you answer, because your answer biblically is going to put you in one of two camps. It's either going to put you in the camp of the fools, or it's going to put you in the camp of the wise. All right? Because remember, the difference between the fools and the wise is that the fools don't value time. The wise value time in a very tangible sense, that they'll actually buy it back, right? They'll buy it back. It literally, has a monetary value, for the wise to say, look, I will invest in anything that will save me more time. And I guess what we just looked at in Ephesians 5 is the fact that if you could learn in a day what would otherwise take years to discover, then God says buy it. God says what? Buy it. The Bible says buy it, right? Because for you to have 364 days, okay, of time available to you to work on other things, okay, is worth so much more to the wise. So the wise, if they could learn in a day what would otherwise take years to discover, the wise would buy it, and God says buy it. Buy the ability to achieve in a day what would otherwise take years of trial and error, years of frustration and disappointment, years of setback and letdowns, years of sweat and tears. If you could buy the ability to achieve it in a day, buy it. And the reason you want to buy it, is because your time is infinitely more important to you than is your money. I'm going to say it again. Your time is infinitely more important to you than is your money. I'm going to say it again. Your time is infinitely more important to you than is your money. And I've said it 3 times because I want to drive out this idea that time and money, sit on the same level, in the same conversation, in at the same level of value. A lot of people think that time is money. I'd say, my time is money, time is money, time is money, and it's become a popular phrase, but it is fundamentally flawed. Let's look at the left hand column. If your money runs out, you can always make some more. That's a fact. Everyone who ever embarked on the entrepreneurial journey knows that you can run out of money and you can make some more. In fact, you can continue earning money until the day that your time runs out. That's a sobering thought. You can continue earning money until the day that your time runs out. When your time runs out, that's the time you can't earn any more money. So if your money runs out, you can always make some more. The right-hand column. If your time runs out, then no amount of money will matter. Your time means more to you than any amount of money. And perhaps to help you consider this, what if I were to offer you $10 million now? If I were to offer you $10 million now and I was able to produce the proof that I could deposit this in your bank account right now, and I made you that offer and said, I'm going to give this to you with one stipulation. And the one stipulation is that you do not wake up in the morning. You do not wake up tomorrow, that this would be your last night on earth. How many of you would accept the offer? Absolutely none of you in your right mind would accept the offer. Why? Because waking up tomorrow is infinitely more important to you than 10 million, 100 million, a billion. Waking up tomorrow is more important to you than any amount of money. And so given that waking up, that another day, that time is that much more important to you than money, then you shouldn't be spending time for money. You should be spending money for time. Woo! And here we've got it. Which would you rather give? Time for money or money for time? Well, given that time is so much more important to you than is money, to the point that you would turn down 10 million today in order to have some more time, okay? Then which would you rather give? The time for the money or the money for the time? Like, it's folly, it's foolishness to pay more for less. It's wisdom to pay less for more, okay? So, if you buy something, it's because the thing you're buying is more important to you than the money in your hand. So you give the money in exchange for the thing because the thing you're buying with the money is more important to you than the money. If your time is more important than the money, then you give the money to get more time. But it would be foolish to give the time, the thing that's most important to you, in order to get more money. Since time is more than money, then don't buy money with it. Instead, use the money to buy more time. Now, this brings me to the law of causality, because I want to explain exactly how you buy more time, right? I'm going to get a little spiritual, perhaps metaphysical, but fundamentally biblical at this stage. So stay with me if you're into all that, because I want to explain exactly how you buy back your time, and you'll understand this when you appreciate the law of causality, right? So we live in a universe that's governed by the law of causality, or the law of cause and effect, right? So every, for every effect there's a cause, okay? And and let's read it. For every known effect, there is a definite and immutable, unchanging cause. If you discover the cause, you can use it to create the same effect over and over again. So that's of course the basis of science, right? The reason why we're able to study things scientifically is because of this law of causality, that every phenomenon, right, anything observable in the universe is the effect of an underlying cause, and itself a cause of other effects. And so if you can discover the cause of a particular effect, you can use the cause to create the same effect over and over again. Okay? If you can discover the cause of a particular effect, like success, business success, right? Lead generation, lead conversion, customer ascension. I mean, these are some business phrases, right? If you can discover the cause of that effect, profits and scaling. If you can, these are all effects. If you can discover the cause of those effects, then you can use the cause to create the same effect over and over again. So a wise person, right, wants to understand what causes this particular effect. Because once you understand what causes the particular effect, you now have a root, right, not simply a fruit. Woo! I said, if you understand what causes that particular effect, you are in possession of a root and not simply a fruit. Wow. You are in possession now of a source, not simply a supply. You are in possession of a well and not simply a glass of water. Because you now understand what causes the effect, you can use that cause to create the same effect over and over again. Now, I've written something at the bottom here that I think is worth reading at the bottom of each of these columns, right? On the left, tangible outcomes are caused by non-tangible factors. They are material effects for which there are spiritual causes. Now, I don't have the time to really unpack that, but I would say that whether it's at the level of physics, I think perhaps the fundamental finding of physics is that material things are made out of non-material things, right? So that as you begin to study things under a microscope, they break down into these small particles called molecules. And as you study the molecules, they break down into smaller particles they're made up of smaller particles called atoms. And as you look at the atoms, they're made up of even smaller subatomic particles that are not things. They are energies and information. And so that physical things are fundamentally made up of non-tangible things. That's just at the level of physics. When it comes to business, okay, and when it comes to success and wealth creation and all of these good things, what causes that effect is typically non-tangible, like faith, like courage, like energy, like creativity, like problem solving, like resilience and being able to come back from a setback. And these are non-tangible, right? And things like knowledge and skill and insight, all of these non-tangibles are causes of the tangible material outcomes that we desire as entrepreneurs. So what I've written here is that you cannot have the root without the fruit, but you can have fruit without a root. The wise value the root of success over the fruit of success. Wise people are saying, I want to know what causes this particular effect. And I want to be a master of the things that cause this particular effect. That's typically how wise people think. And I'm going to draw from the experience of perhaps the wisest man that ever lived, certainly the wisest man in the canon of scripture, okay? And this is Solomon, right? King Solomon was known for his wisdom, King Solomon the wise. Now, of course, we know that he wasn't wise in every area of his life, but he was certainly wise in his leadership. And the reason he was wise in his leadership is that at the beginning of his reign, God gave him a blank check. And God said, Solomon, ask from me anything that you want. Solomon could have asked for money. He could have asked for, riches and wealth. He could have asked for long life and health. He could have asked for the life of his enemies. He could have asked for anything, but instead, he asked for wisdom, the wisdom to lead. Okay? He asked for wisdom, and God said, well done, because you've asked for wisdom and you didn't ask for wealth and money, you didn't ask for health and long life, you didn't ask for the life of your enemies, instead you asked for wisdom. God said, because of that, I'm going to give you wisdom and I'm going to give you the things you didn't ask for, right? So what was it that made Solomon wise? Well, what was it that made Solomon different? Solomon's difference was the fact that he valued the root over the fruit. He valued the root over the fruit. When presented with an open check, he didn't say, God, give me money. Instead, he effectively said, give me the wisdom, right? Give me mastery of the cause of that money effect, because if I can master the cause, I can use it to create the effect over and over again. See, Solomon knew that if I'm wise, I will ultimately become wealthy. If I'm wise, I can live long and healthy. If I'm wise, I'll defeat my enemies, sometimes without a battle. If I am wise, everything else that I want in my life, I can achieve it through wisdom. So Solomon prioritized wisdom over wealth. Wisdom over wealth. In fact, for Solomon, wisdom was the ultimate wealth. And so when God gave him a blank check, he asked for wisdom. Now, it's interesting to note that the wisest man that ever lived was also the richest man that ever lived. So this, again, it's the correlation. It's root, it's fruit, it's source, it's supply. The man who had the root also had the fruit. The man who had the source also had the supply. The man who had the well, he also had the water. And so that's an interesting correlation, that the wisest man was the richest man. But what did Solomon teach? Solomon taught that these non-tangibles, the following non-tangibles, were more valuable to him and should be more valuable to you than silver, gold, jewels, and great riches. Right? These non-tangibles were more valuable than silver, gold, jewels, great riches. What were these non-tangibles? Well, here they are. Number one, the fear of the Lord. Okay? That is a healthy respect for God's authority, God's sovereignty, God's wisdom, God's righteousness, God's faithfulness. It's where you absolutely have this healthy regard for the sovereignty and authority of God. That's a non-tangible, but according to Solomon, it's the beginning of wisdom. And it is therefore more valuable than silver, gold, land, houses. It's more valuable because if it leads to wisdom, then you can get all those things from that root. Solomon goes on to say what else he values above riches. He values knowledge. He values understanding. He values wisdom. Now I'm going to translate that. So knowledge is information. Understanding is explanation, and wisdom is application. Okay? So it's the application of the information that you understand. So it's knowledge, it's understanding, it's wisdom. According to Solomon, these things are of more value. Why? Because they constitute a cause. And if you can master the cause, you can use the cause to create the effect. If you can master the cause, you can manage the effect. And so he says these things are more valuable. Now, my question to you is, are these things more valuable to you than silver, gold, riches, houses, and land? Because they certainly were more valuable to the richest man that ever lived. They were more valuable to him. They were more valuable to the wisest man that ever lived. So, how much value do you attach to knowledge, understanding, and wisdom? How much value do you attach to knowledge, understanding, and wisdom? I'm going to say it again. How much value do you attach to knowledge, understanding, and wisdom? Because that's going to determine your ability to take quantum leaps in the direction of your dreams and destiny. It's going to determine your ability to collapse the distance between the beginning and the end. And it's going to determine your ability to redeem or to buy back your time. Because you cannot buy back time until you value knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. You cannot buy back time until you value information, understanding, and application. You cannot buy back time until your values and priorities change. Remember, I told you I'm going to tell you exactly how to buy back time? It's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to get cut to the chase. I'm going to tell you how you buy back time. But I needed to preface it with the fact that you simply cannot buy back time. You cannot redeem time. You cannot collapse time. You cannot accelerate time. You cannot experience the quantum leap in the direction of your dreams and your destinies until you actually value information, knowledge, and wisdom. I'm going to put it this, use Solomon's words, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. So here is why some people are going to waste years of their life in business. Okay? And I hope it's not you. I pray it's not you. Certainly after this presentation, it should not be you. But here's why some people are going to waste years of their life. Okay? They are going to go the long route. They are going to discover in 3 years what they could have learned in one night. That's what's going to happen to them. They're going to invent something and build something in 5 years that could have been built in an hour. They are going to suffer the stress, the strain, the heartache, the disappointment, the frustration in cycles over the next 3 to 5 years, when all of it could have been obliterated in a moment. And the reason they're going to do it is because they will not invest. They will not invest in the non-tangible causes of the success effect. Woo! They will not invest. They do not value the root cause of material success, and the evidence that they don't value it is that they will not invest. Okay? So everyone knows that in order to build a business, you have to invest in the business. But here's what some people think. Yeah, I'm going to invest in more equipment. I'm going to invest in better premises. I'm going to invest in more staff. I'm going to invest in things, right? But if you say to them, okay, are you going to invest in your education, right? Are you going to upgrade your skill set? Are you going to expand your bank of knowledge? Are you going to invest in relationships that deliver rapid results? No, they're not going to invest in it. Why? Because they don't value the non-tangible causes of the success effect. And because you won't invest in the non-tangible causes of the success effect, you are going to spend 5 years discovering something that you could have learned in one night of a great relationship or of a partnership with existing expertise and wisdom in the form of a coach. Now, let me give you the three reasons why people don't invest in learning. They don't invest in knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, right? And they'll not hire a coach. They'll not hire a business coach, performance coach, a life coach. They won't do that. It's just three reasons. Number one is pride. Okay, and pride is your way of saying I'm better than everyone else. I know everything I need to know. No one can teach me anything. Yeah, I just look it up on YouTube. If I want to know how to do it, I just look it up on YouTube and I know everything that I need to know. Okay, so that kind of person is unteachable, the person is uncoachable, and the person is uncorrectable. And because you are unteachable, uncoachable, and uncorrectable, it's going to take you much, much longer to achieve particular things. And you're going to find other people running ahead of you very fast. People that you consider to be less talented than you, less resourced than you, less known than you are going to run past you and simply leap past you. Why? Because they were teachable, they were coachable, they were correctable, they were not proud, they were humble, and they said to a coach, will you be my coach? Will you be my mentor? Will you save me time? Will you save me time? Because you can teach me in a day what it would take me personally several years to figure out and to get right. And you can guide me as I seek to implement these things so that I make fewer and fewer mistakes, so that I get where I'm trying to go quickly. Second reason why people don't invest is their misplaced priorities. Misplaced priorities. They have placed fruits over roots, right? Okay, so they're looking for the money. They are, looking for the profits. They're looking for the sales. They're just diving right into that, and they haven't prioritized the root causes of that particular effect. They haven't spent any money on mastering the root causes of that particular effect. And so they experience some success, but totally unsustainable because they have remained ignorant whilst eating the fruit, the temporary fruit of what seems like success. I've got this last one here, which I won't dive into too much. I talk about being profane. We today use the word profanity to describe bad language, but the Bible says that Esau was profane. Esau was profane. And all it meant was that for Esau, his belly was more important to him than his birthright. And so you are profane biblically, okay, when your values are all wrong, when you are valuing the wrong thing. Okay, so I'm going to make a case for coaching, and then I'm just going to close it out, right? Make a case for coaching, because there's two types of people going into business. There are those that are going it alone, right? And they're going to spend and they're going to invest in equipment and in advertising and in marketing campaigns and tools and software. And they're going to make all these investments, and then you're going to go to YouTube and they're going to try and figure it all out by themselves. But then there are others who are going to invest in a coaching relationship. They're going to find a business coach, someone that's achieved the sort of success that they're trying to achieve, and someone that's willing to share, right, their knowledge, their experience, their skills with them, whilst holding them accountable to a way forward and a course of action, operating as a mentor and a guide. And they're going to pay that person. They're going to pay that person, say, I want you to be the coach in my corner. And they're going to benefit immediately as follows, right? Because coaching is the fast track to business success. If there's a fast track, right? People talk about the fast track. The fast track is never a piece of equipment. The fast track is the coaching, right? It's the education that enables you to use the equipment properly. Okay, so you can buy a whole lot of new equipment, but never really maximize its potential, never understand how to use it properly, why to use it, when to use it, where to use it. You're never going to understand that without the coaching element. So coaching is the fast track to business success. And when you employ a credible coach and you bring into your team a business coach, right? A credible business coach, and that's kind of another subject, a credible business coach, because a lot of people call themselves coaches, but don't actually have any history of results, okay? So you bring into your corner a credible coach. That coach is going to deliver to you, number one, a mirror. A mirror. Wow and wow. Now, what is the mirror, right? The mirror allows you to have to practice what I call objective self-assessment, right? Because if you don't know where you really are right now, okay, then you're not going to be able to get to where you want to be, right? So you can only manage what you can measure, and it's very important that you become realistic and brutally honest about where you are right now. And a good coach is going to hold a mirror up in front of you, and it's going to allow you to see where you actually are. Okay? Because I guess when we try to self-assess, we self-assess through filters. Okay, some of those are emotional filters, some of those are sentimental filters, some of those are the filters of what good meaning people have said about us, and we assess ourselves by sometimes comparing ourselves with the person next door. Those are not objective self-assessments, they're subjective self-assessments, but a good coach is going to help you to make an objective self-assessment to say, this is where I am and this is my starting point. Okay? Second thing a great coach is going to be able to do for you is give you a map, right? A map. And that's a proven pathway, a proven path. And they're going to know it's a proven path because they've taken that road themselves. But also because, a high value coach has relationship with other high value coaches, and they will regularly discuss the pathways. So they'll have a sense of what a proven pathway is. And they'll know the road to nowhere, and they'll know the way to wealth, the way to success, the way to results. They'll know it. And so they'll be able to give you a map, which is a proven path. Number three, they'll be able to give you a model, okay? A model. Because having a map is one thing, kind of tells you where to go. But having a model actually is the same as having an example. Okay. And so what a good credible coach will do is present to you an example and be able to show you the beliefs and the behaviors that you can model. It's going to make it possible for you to follow this proven path on your map. And then finally, a good coach, a credible coach, is going to become a mentor to you, okay? A mentor among other mentors. But I need you to know that your mentor is at times going to become your tormentor, okay? Because whereas your friends, okay, love you the way you are, right? Your mentor loves the way that he or she knows you can be, all right, and is always going to push you and stretch you beyond your presupposed limits and get you to a place where you're uncomfortable. So a good coaching relationship is going to have this degree of discomfort because you're being pushed and you're being stretched, and you are raising the bar, you are breaking the barriers, you're going beyond your presupposed limits to venture into new territory, but you're doing it safely because your mentor is there to guide, to advise. You have a model, you have a map, you have a mirror. Now look, how fast could you go in a coaching relationship where you have the mirror, the map, the model, the mentor? How much faster could you go? Well, let me tell you something. People who employ coaches make quantum leaps in the direction of their dreams and their destinies. The people that don't use coaches, right, for whatever reason, whatever of the three reasons I gave in the page before, are they have, number one, failed to value knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Okay, they failed to value that. And as a result of failing to value that, then they're going to have to go the hard way. Instead of a day of favor, they're going to experience the lifetime of labor. Well, look, that's about as much as I want to share with you tonight. And I hope it's been a blessing to you. I'm looking forward to seeing your comments in the chat box. I'm looking forward to reading these things as I give you a few days to catch up on it and have a look at it. If you are looking for a business coach, do get in contact with us. Let us know. We may be able to help. We may not. But if we cannot, we may be able to point you in the right direction. Whatever the case, redeem your time. Buy back your time. Invest in a coaching partnership and relationship that will save you years of trial and error by showing you in a day what would otherwise take years to discover. This is Bishop Wayne Malcolm, the Business Bishop, and I've enjoyed being with you today. Do tune in for the next episode of our Blessed Business Coaching Tips, and do subscribe to the channel. Like the post and share it with your family, friends, and networks. Until then, peace out. Shalom.